We got some Nintendo news. That's right, guys. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Big Chetty, and today we're talking about Nintendo. Like the mighty and wise Prometheus that Nintendo is, they came down the other day and blessed us with a surprise direct. Kind of like a nosebleed in the third grade. You didn't know it was going to happen, but then it just did. And now you're dealing with it. So out of nowhere, there was a direct, and they talked about some stuff. They said some things. And in my opinion, it was a pretty much a mixed bag. There was a lot of good, a lot of mid, a lot of not so good. Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit. What I thought was noteworthy was we saw some Pokemon ZA footage. So that was kind of cool. The sequel to Pokemon Arceus, Pokemon Legends ZA, or ZA, if you're Canadian. We saw some gameplay footage and a few extended gameplay features, exploring the idea of instead of an open world, well, it is open world, but instead of like an open field environment in the forest and woods, now you're going to catch these Pokemon in a big city set in the Generation 6 city of, I believe it's Kalos, or that's the region. I can't remember what the city's called. But no, Lumiere City, something like that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Point being, it's supposed to be a massive city instead of like an open world, and there's going to be like areas you can go and catch Pokemon instead of just like going out and look, oh, there's a Piplup by the water, oh, there's an Infernape over there. It's now there's like, oh, I'm going to walk in this area and look, there's a Dugtrio, get it. So I don't know. I don't know how that's going to gameplay wise, because that kind of feels like a step back to me. Also, apparently at nighttime in the city, there's a day and night cycle. You'll be fighting Pokemon trainers instead of catching Pokemon. I guess it's like a challenge. I don't really know if there's a gym or the gym leaders, or not sure if it's going to follow the same sort of style that Legends Arceus did. So we'll see. I'm gameplay wise, I'm not too sure. I was happy to see more gameplay. Something I do think that's really noteworthy about that gameplay though is that it looks pretty choppy. The frame rate does not look great. I noticed the same thing a couple years ago when Scarlet and Violet got revealed, and I was like, "Oh wow, that gameplay kind of looks a little like we're not full 30 frames there. Like we're like 24, maybe like even less maybe." And I was like, "Nah, that's just a beta. That's not gonna be in the final copy of the game." It was though, so that kind of concerns me if that's Switch One footage, which I'll get to the whole Switch Two talk in a minute because that has something to do with this video as well. But there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions. We got some answers, but really we've got a lot more questions. Also, we're showing off was Tamagotchi Life. I never played the original one, but I saw a lot of people online that were yapping about it. They're like, nope, this is the game. This is the one. I'm so happy we're getting another one. So perhaps it may be worth picking up. I may pick it up and stream it here on YouTube and Twitch. 4 days a week, guys. Come check it out. If it's fun, goofiness, we can make some memes and hang out. Why not? It might be kind of fun. The best game they showed off, in my opinion, though, and I think a lot of people will agree, is Metroid 4, Metroid Prime 4. Samus is back for a new 3D adventure. First-person shooter mixed with Zelda puzzle-solving, Castlevania style. Looks pretty good. Graphically, it looks impressive. The gameplay looks good. Frames are good. If that's running on Switch 1, oh my god. If that comes to Switch 2, who knows what's going to happen. But she's got some new power, some telekinesis stuff, maybe a little bit of Bioshock thing going on there. You know, she got the gun, she got the laser gun, and she got telekinesis, maybe some powers, and she got a new suit. That is, in my opinion, very interesting. Perhaps maybe even some multiplayer. That'd be kind of cool. Some Metroid multiplayer. Who knows? It's Nintendo though. You don't know if it's going to be good or not. So we'll see what happens. But I think it looks very good. Before I move on though, I totally forgot. Actually, the most noteworthy thing in the direct the other day was the game sharing feature that they just randomly showed off. Basically, from my understanding, you'll be able to digitally share your games, which actually makes a lot of sense, especially for Nintendo. If you've been playing on the Switch for the last 7-8 years, hell, you've been a Nintendo fan for your entire life like me, Nintendo games have this problem where they don't go on sale. Nintendo games never go on sale. You could be talking to your friend and he could say, "Hey, get Luigi's Mansion 3, you go and play that. That's a good game. Go get it." And you're like, "Oh, it's been a couple years. I'll pick it up. Sure, why not?" And it's still full price years later. So the idea that if someone buys the game, you buy another game, you can share the game for a limited period of time. It was up for it was like 2 weeks or something like that. So I think it's a pretty cool idea. For Nintendo, that actually makes a lot of sense. But that game sharing technology looks pretty interesting. I know a lot of people would say that, "Oh, well, I've been game sharing, for years on my PlayStation, my Xbox. We just have 2 accounts and 2 different Xboxes, and we download games." And I do that with my girlfriend. She buys a game, we share it. I buy a game, we share it, and download, et cetera, et cetera. But if you could just share a game with someone like that, I think there's a lot of potential there. I think that opens some good doors, some very good, especially for the business of video games. I think that's very good. It may even potentially bring back rentals. I think. I think if you can just share digitally a game like that, then perhaps for the average Joe Schmo with a credit card, if you want to try the full game instead of a demo, then you'd be able to rent that game for just rent it right from the Nintendo eShop, or maybe eventually even PlayStation and Xbox if they catch on to that too, renting the game. Which I think for a lot of people that is still a viable method of playing video games. There's a lot of video games that come out that I just do not want to drop a full $90, $100 on. There's just some games that are, in my opinion, not worth that price until they come down in sale. So for me, I think it's an interesting idea, the game sharing, and I think it's potentially going to open some new doors. We'll see. I'm a Blockbuster guy. I used to play a lot of my games like that. I miss Blockbuster. I wish I could rent games like that still, but we'll see where it goes. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. I think I'm onto something there. And of course, I cannot not talk about all these games and this direct without talking about the new direct tomorrow, which I'll probably be at my day job when the direct comes out. So I'll be watching from work, but I will be making a video maybe a day later or maybe two. I'm not sure when, gathering my think some thoughts for, I think, what is a 30-minute direct. We'll see how it goes. I think 30 minutes, maybe a little short to show off a brand new system. So what I thought I would do is I would leave you with my thinks and thoughts and maybe some predictions that I think I have and just some ideas floating around and some things that I think that need to happen. Like things that, like for the Switch 2 to be a success, it needs to happen. Okay, so number one thing that I think needs to happen for Switch 2, whether they show it off tomorrow or on release or whatever the console actually is, it needs to be more powerful. It needs to be a more powerful console. And I'm not saying it has to be as powerful as the PS5. It doesn't have to be a PS6 whenever that comes out, because the PS5, I hate to tell you guys, we're already like 5 years deep. We're getting close to another PlayStation generation. That's how far deep we are in. It needs to be more powerful. Right now, I'd argue the Switch is a PS2 on wheels. And you know what? 8 years ago when the Switch launched, which I know it's crazy it's been that long, maybe even more, that was totally fine. That was totally good. The idea that you could take console games on the go and they would work just the same as they would at home, mint idea. And there's been some great games. Super Smash Brothers, Breath of the Wild. Those games look great, they run great, no problems. However, there's a few games that get put on Switch that don't exactly run the same. As much as I love Pokemon Arceus, for example, doesn't look the greatest. Graphically, not that impressive, and it's a little ugly for the time it released. So I think having a massive upgrade to the system is going to make games better, look better, and it's going to make them more competitive. Which leads me to my next point. I think one of the things they're going to show off tomorrow is the third-party support for Switch 2, which it desperately needs. Switch 2 needs more third-party support. Yeah, there's a lot of third-party games. You can play your Stardew Valleys, your indie games, and that's good. Indie games are important. As much as I don't play all of them, they are important. They need to have more third-party support. Now, I come from a time when Nintendo always had third-party support, or at least supported most other games. For example, some of my first Call of Duty experiences online as a gamer, and please, in the comments, let me know if you're one of these people. I used to play Call of Duty World at War on the Wii. You know what that does to your forearms? You know what that does? People are gonna think I was locked in a room with some lotion and some tissues, but no, that's not the case. That's not what happened. What happened was I played Call of Duty World at War on the Wii for a year and tried to aim with the Wii remote with motion. It was bad. It was good because it was on there, but man, trying to go back and play that now would just be a nightmare. So, point being, Nintendo has had third-party support before, but they need more support now. New Resident Evil, that should come out on Switch, which rumored it may be. The new Call of Duty actually may come out on Switch too, which, how that's going to work, is there going to be a lesser, a big problem with the later third-party support for Nintendo consoles is that it was always a watered-down version. Call of Duty World at War on the Wii didn't have zombie mode. Black Ops 1 did, but only the first map. And no access to map packs. So how that's going to look, I don't know. The Switch 2 basically just needs to be a PS4 on wheels. It needs to be a PS4 mobile, essentially, in my opinion. So we'll see where that goes. But I think they're going to show off some third-party support, which it really needs. Next, I think they're going to show off Mario Kart 9 or whatever that's called. Obviously, they teased it a little bit in the Switch 2 teaser, which, again, makes sense. They're going to show it off. They've already shown some stuff. I'm hearing rumors that there may be oil changes, tire changes, pit stops that you have to do. I've heard rumors that it's going to be like Diddy Kong open world, sort of semi-open world, driving around kind of thing. Most importantly, though, my biggest prediction, I think we're going to get a new Mario game, new 3D Mario. I'd be surprised if there was not an announcement for a Mario Odyssey 2 or maybe a Mario 64 remake, something like that. Anything along those lines. Maybe even an open world 3D Mario, like sort of similar to Sonic Frontiers. If you guys have played that, which I think actually would be very fun. An open world Mario, just to do like you come across the levels and challenges and parkour as you go. Kind of a cool idea, and I think that having an open world with Mario Kart or the new 3D Mario would, I think that goes very well with their games. Zelda, you could argue, has always been open world. Sure, it has. But using a true open world formula with Zelda worked very well. So mixing that with some of their other games that are really pretty confined compared to most games, open world is a pretty common genre now. But I think that's very interesting. And if the Switch 2 is powerful enough to handle that, I think we're going to see some crazy games come up. Some absolute blockbusters. And that's what we want. Right now, my Switch is collecting dust. It's not doing anything. So to be able to have a Switch 2 with some crazy games on it, genre-defining games, that's what Nintendo's known for, and that's what they need to do. Something I also think is going to get announced is the GameCube emulator. So right now, if you have Switch Online, you have access to the NES, the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo 64, the Game Boy Advance, and Game Boy, and that's great. We'd probably see an update to those games as well, which there's still a few games that we're missing from those, especially the N64. There's definitely some games. There's definitely some more games I could put on there. But I think a GameCube emulator is coming, or a GameCube, whatever you want to call it. Having a GameCube emulator on Switch 2, I for me is mint. Having access to GameCube games readily available to you just at the click of a button with online multiplayer, and having the multiplayer work, which, by the way, side tangent, they need to fix their online stuff because it's not that great. Being able to play Mario Party 6 online, come on. I can think of 20 GameCube games at the top of my head, besides Mario Sunshine and like Wind Waker, that I think a lot of people have never played, missed out on. Younger generation has never got around to them, and I think it's a shame because I think there's some really good games there. I think GameCube, PS2, and Xbox are like the first generation where you can send someone back to play those games where they still hold up because graphically they haven't aged too poorly, and I think a lot of games still have a lot of playtime to them, and just a lot of good ideas. So I think that's something we're going to see. That's my number one hope, is that we see. And lastly, I think what we're going to see is a release date. Makes sense, right? They're going to tell us when it's coming out. I've heard rumors that's going to release in June. I think that's way too soon. 2 months from now, from April 1st, by the way. Happy April Fool's Day. Don't play any jokes, mean. I cannot see it releasing in June. That is not, I feel like that does not give the public enough time to prepare themselves. On top of that, it just historically makes sense to release it around the Christmas season. Although GTA 6 is releasing this Christmas season, so that may affect sales as well. And I know that sounds really stupid, but GTA 6, if it does release when they say it's releasing around the holiday season, it is going to dominate sales for weeks. So I don't know if they release this thing in December, if they do it January. June just feels too early to me. Maybe they release it a little bit later than that. I'm not sure, but I think that's what we're going to see. So Mario Kart 9, new 3D Mario, GameCube emulator, and of course, a release date. I will get back to you guys with a new video thinking about my thinks and thoughts about tomorrow, and I will upload it very soon. Plus, more content on the way, more shorts on the way. Make sure you guys like the shorts. More streams, too. Streaming 4 days a week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm here on YouTube and Twitch live for your entertainment pleasure. The Diabolical Diabetic. I love you guys. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.